Are you able to hear me?
Those are the alternatives we're working on, Angie. So we can hear her, but she can't hear us yet. No, probably, oh, there. Can you hear us now, Commissioner Reinhardt?
I can definitely
Okay.
see it when I'm looking.
Thanks, Alex.
Meeting, no one can see it, but I'm like, oh, no, yeah.
I cannot hear anyone there yet,
Okay,
but everyone appears to be on mute also.
yes. We should be unmuted shortly.
That's important. This is now, it's more, I can just like, I mean, I've got
That was a good
a
meeting.
shirt and a belly band.
I'm on the call already.
Yep, we are here.
Hey, me,
Yes.
do you need me to do something with the timer?
No, that's okay. I could do it from here.
Oh, okay, great.
Because then we'll share the list so it's easier.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
perfect.
in case.
Yeah.
Are you able to hear us?
No, because I need this.
Nicole, can you unmute?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, you can hear me and I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like the chambers are now not muted anymore,
Can you hear us, Commissioner
but I
Reinhardt?
can't. Oh, now I can, yeah.
Okay, we are here and we are ready.
Okay, and I do have a gavel here, so I
We
can actually do this
we
one.
don't see Commissioner McDonough, and we're about 1 minute early.
Okay, yeah, we're not going to start.
Okay.
I mean, I'll wait.
Okay,
I need to switch them over.
And me, you're going to be letting people in
correct.
when it's their turn to speak, correct? Okay, there's Commissioner McDonough.
Yep.
And Commissioner McGuire, where is she? Hi, Joe.
And Commissioner Reinhardt, when me move someone over to a speaking position, they'll have to hit accept to be able to speak.
Okay, so I should add that to my comments.
Yes, and we'll be running the timer as well.
Okay. And do I probably need to read that statement, don't I?
Yes.
About virtual or not?
Yes.
Okay, where did I put it?
That's okay.
Okay. Is Commissioner McGuire on?
She is not yet.
Is she in a waiting room?
She is not.
Okay. All right, well, I'm showing 4:30.
Yep, go ahead and start. We're gonna get her on.
Okay. I am calling the public hearing to order. It is the public hearing on the proposed 2022-2023 Ramsey County budget, and it is now open. I don't know if you could hear the gavel, but I did hit it. The purpose of the meeting is to allow the public an opportunity to comment on Ramsey County's proposed 2022-2023 budget. For those who are here to speak at the public hearing via Zoom, when you are called to speak, please state your name and city of residence before making any comment. You will have a limit of 3 minutes to give your testimony. And I also was informed that when the host frees up your microphone to speak, that you will have to hit accept in order to speak. Before I start the meeting itself, well, before I go any further, I'm going to read a statement. Pursuant to Minnesota Statute Section 13D.021, the chair of the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners has determined that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the prevalence of the Delta variant. Commissioners will participate by telephone or other electronic means. In addition, it may not be feasible for commissioners, staff, or members of the public to be present at the regular meeting location due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the prevalence of the Delta variant. The meetings will be broadcast, will be available online, and linked via Ramsey County's website. Members of the public and the media will be able to watch the public meeting live online. In this particular case, this is where we hear from you as the public. And if there are questions that come up, staff will make sure that we get the information back to you. But this is time for us to listen. And before I open it up for people to speak, I guess I would appreciate it if each of the commissioners that is participating could introduce themselves. I will start with Commissioner Freth, and we'll go by district number.
Commissioner Nicole Frebham, representing District 1.
Commissioner Trista Mattis Castillo, District 3.
Commissioner Tony Carter, District 4, and Board Chair.
And if you could turn your microphone on, Commissioner Carter.
Commissioner Tony Carter, District 4, and Board Chair. I won't make you do that for this whole thing.
Okay. And
Commissioner Jim McDonough.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Go ahead.
Jim.
Commissioner
Okay, I was just going to say
Jim
that
McDonough.
Commissioner. Okay, we're going to play this game. Okay, Jim, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Commissioner Jim McDonough, District 6.
Okay, sorry about that. And I am Commissioner Victoria Reinhardt, District 7. I chair the Budget Committee, and I was just going to state that Commissioner Mattis Castillo is Vice Chair of the Budget Committee. So again, I will, and I'm going to make sure I got my list here.
Madam Chair, I also just want to let you know, Commissioner McGuire and I were just communicating. She was kind of on the wrong link. We'll get her in here in just a second. So I'm just announcing that Commissioner Mary Jo McGuire will be joining you in just a moment.
Okay, sounds great. Okay, as I stated, when your name is called, I've got 4 people that are signed up so far. When your name is called, please state your name, the city of residence before making your comment. You'll be limited to 3 minutes. And the first person on my list is, and if I mispronounce your name, I apologize, Nick Muhammad from St. Paul. You have to unmute. Can you unmute, please?
There might just
Okay,
be
if
a
you
few
can-
second delay. She's sending him a note to unmute.
Okay,
There we go.
There we go.
there we go. Welcome. State your name and city, please, even though I just did.
Nick Mohammed, City of St. Paul, and I'm here with the Black Civic Network. And so do I just ask my question here?
Well, actually, it's public comment, and any questions that come up here, it's the commissioners are here to listen. So if you could make your statement, and you've got 3 minutes, but your 3 minutes will start now. So if you have questions, we'll get back to you, is what it comes down to.
Okay, my statement is very simple. I'm hoping that the county is taking into account the unique circumstances that we have with the federal guidelines to be able to make critical new infrastructure investments into communities that systemically haven't been able to find resources in order to make investments, i.e. The Black or ADOS communities in particular. And we know that the guidelines around the ARP funds have provided us a unique opportunity to make investments into any community where there is a disproportionate health or economic disparity that contributed to a disproportionate impact of COVID-19. And based on that, we'd like to make sure that the squeaky wheel actually becomes a priority and becomes earmarked and is directly initiated by the county, and making sure that we're taking advantage of that so that, you know, we're not scrambling for resources down the line to make critical initiatives possible. So that's where I'll start with it. And my question would revolve around that same thing.
You can go ahead and ask your question and we will make sure to get an answer back to you.
Okay, so my question is, how is the council making sure that the communities where the Department of Human Services has already, mapped out the rate of infection per capita and, how that actually has shooken out for the state? How are we making sure that we're using that data to guide these funds and making sure that we're investing into initiatives that will directly impact those funds or those communities, and making sure that these investments are poised to make sure that we're able to move the needle 5, 10, 20 years from now, so these communities are not left in a vulnerable state going forward, so that we are properly prepared should another pandemic arise and not have to figure out how we're going to tread water and survive.
Thank you. And we have your email address, so we will get a response back to you on that. That question's been asked before, so I know we have an answer for you. Okay, thank you. We will move on then to Catherine Lamp from St. Paul. And remember, you have to hit accept. Is Catherine Lamp on the call?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I had to find all the
there
buttons.
we go.
Yeah.
We're all in the same boat there.
Yeah.
Your name
Thank
and
you
your
very
city,
much.
please.
My name is Catherine Lamp, St. Paul. Madam Chair and Commissioners, this is my formal statement. Thank you for this opportunity to speak in favor of a tax levy increase for affordable and deeply affordable housing. My name is Kathy Lamp. I'm a member of the Olivet Congregational Church in St. Paul. Olivet is a member of the Beacon Interfaith Collaborative. Congregationalists have a strong history of social justice action. We are called to be servants in the service of others. And it fits with our mission to join with other congregations to assure houses and homes for all. We recognize that the levy increase will not be sufficient to meet the growing need for housing for our most vulnerable residents. The county's own research documents describe the need for 15,000 more units for families with income that is 30% or below the area median income. This is the greatest and most urgent need, and it is growing. We also recognize that the county wants to be cautious about raising property taxes on individual homeowners who are already burdened. So we do appreciate your willingness at this time to leverage with federal dollars and county dollars to make a meaningful contribution for your constituents with the greatest needs. Prior to retirement, I worked many years in public health care and social service programs. I came to see that safe, affordable, and stable housing is a basic necessity that underlies all the other efforts we make to assure improvements in health, education, and employment. A stable home means medication can be taken regularly, health care, home care can be available, diabetics can have regular meals, children can go to the same school for a whole school year, and adults have an address to use when they're making employment applications. The county's own economic competitiveness and inclusion plan identifies the need for us to undo the impacts of our history and our present racial injustice that has, as stated in your report, undercapitalized BIPOC communities. It is these communities who are overrepresented when it comes to who has the greatest need for housing right now. And those people are the people at or below 30% AMI.
We're at time.
Thank you very much. The next person on that has signed up to speak, I understand is maybe not on the call yet. Sandy CM, SANDY apostrophe CI capital M. If she is not on the call yet,
No, we don't
and then
see
we
her
will
on the
go.
call.
Okay, then we will go to the fourth person that I have listed, and that is Lee Blondes, I believe, St. Paul, and I understand Lee is on the call.
Yes.
And just remember that we are here to listen, and if there are any follow-up questions, we will make sure that we get responses to you, but today we are here to listen.
Commissioners, thank you so much for the opportunity
Hi.
to speak. My name is Lee Blondes, and I'm a resident of St. Paul and the Chief Executive Officer of Beacon Interfaith Housing Collaborative. Beacon creates and sustains homes for people with very low incomes and advocates for greater public investment in deeply affordable housing at the state and local level. As a collaborative of over 100 congregations, Beacon holds the vision that all people have a home. The view that affordable housing belongs in all communities has always driven our work. We believe everyone should have a choice about where they live. We operate close to 200 homes in Ramsey County, where people coming out of homelessness, both single adults and youth. For that reason, I'm here today to applaud the county for taking this important step to invest in affordable housing that will serve suburban as well as urban areas. Utilizing the HRA levy is an overdue but significant move, and we appreciate your recognition that our need for more homes is urgent and requires all levels of government to develop new and innovative tools. I'm also here to urge you to prioritize funding for people who have the fewest options and the greatest need. As Kathy mentioned, your plan lifts up that there's a huge need, 15,000 new units. If we look at what the levy will produce, $57 million over the next 5 years, which is just extraordinary. With leveraging other resources, you may be able to create 750, maybe 1,000 new homes toward that. But obviously the need is huge. As we've seen other public funders prioritize how funding gets distributed, often only a fraction of those homes happens where the greatest need is in the community. We encourage you to defy those expectations and act boldly and with ambition so that you are able to create more of these precious units. We encourage you to set a goal that at least 500 of those homes that you create in the next 5 years are deeply affordable for those that are the lowest income or experiencing homelessness. We know that due to the history and presence of racial injustice, our failure to create enough homes disproportionately impacts BIPOC residents. We know our commitment and yours to racial equity calls us to respond. We also know that all members of our community, whether Black or Brown, Indigenous or white or Asian, suffer when any of us are unstably housed, inadequately housed, or unhoused altogether. The residents of Ramsey County who are struggling the most are in a category we describe as severely cost burdened, meaning they pay more than half of their income toward rent. You have to pay more than 50% of your income for housing. You're more than likely to miss out on other basic needs like food and medical care and are certainly at high risk for eviction. When we look at those who pay more than 50% of their income in Ramsey County, over 77% of them are at the lowest incomes. So it makes sense for you to put your funding where the need is the greatest. So we hope that as you create and gather these new resources, that you invest them in the community, and that at least that you think about 77% of those new homes being at the lowest income as we go forward. I also want to lift up the need for structural partnerships to happen as you step
We are
into the
at
house.
time.
Thank you very much. Has Sandy joined at this point?
Hold on, Commissioner, 1 second, please. No.
Okay.
I don't see Sandy.
No, Sandy has not, and that's the end of our list. If you just want to call for anyone to prompt me in the chat.
Okay, and so what they would do is ask in the chat to be
Yes.
elevated to a panelist. Okay, I know that we have a number of people on this call for the first public hearing of our 2022-2023 budget, and would invite you to send a note in chat so that you can be elevated to a panelist, at which time you'll have 3 minutes to speak to the budget. We are here to listen, and if you have a question, we can provide that answer. It will be provided after the meeting, after the open public hearing. I was having trouble reading what the chat said there. If someone in the chambers
We-
could look at that.
We do have one person that would like to speak. Dutton Foster.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
Dutton
is he-
Foster should be on now.
Okay.
Oh, there he is.
I don't know why my camera's not on. My name is Henry Dutton Foster. I'm a resident of St. Paul and a member of Unity Unitarian Congregation. I'm also another active member of the Beacon Collaborative, and you've heard plenty of introduction to that. I'm also a weekly volunteer. I've been a weekly volunteer for 17 years since retirement for Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity. Like many of us in St. Paul, I felt ashamed at witnessing people living in tents in a prosperous city in one of the world's richest nations. Therefore, I support the proposed levy, and I urge that as many of the funds raised as possible be used to finance housing for those in the 30% AMI and below category. Ramsey County, as we've heard, is in need of 15,000 additional housing units at that level, and many resources will need to be brought to bear to create affordable housing for all in both St. Paul and its suburban neighbors. Taxation is not and had never been popular, but tax revenue is vital to the creation of a viable community. Adequate housing for all members of a community is foundational. It's basic. Adults and children need a home base that's affordable and safe. People's ability to grow and thrive and contribute depends on many factors, but a secure housing situation is one of the most important of those factors. Our patriotism should remind us that we must all help build a thriving nation. Our faith should remind us that loving our neighbor refers not primarily to feelings, but to actions which benefit and empower others. The first principle of Unitarian Universalism is to recognize and honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person. The second principle is to act for justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. The seventh and final principle is to respect the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Therefore, as Unitarian Universalists, we must support action to alleviate the rampant housing insecurity which degrades the lives of people in Ramsey County. To paraphrase the poet Marge Piercy, community starts when you say we and know who you mean, and each day you mean one more. Thank you.
Thank you. I am going to ask in the chambers that I think that there are some questions that are coming in via chat. I want to make sure that those are captured so that we can get back to people, because as we all know, we are here to listen. The commissioners are here to listen today, and questions will be responded to.
Yes, Madam Chair, they're saving all the questions from the chat as well.
Great. Okay. Wanted to make sure. Is there anyone else here to speak regarding the proposed 2022-2023 Ramsey County budget?
Yes.
If so, please indicate.
Elizabeth Tannen will be next on the list. We'll be promoting her
Okay.
now.
Thank you.
Elizabeth, you need to accept so that you can be moved to panelist. All right. All right, we're ready.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Shannon. Thanks for letting me jump in here. I just wanted to acknowledge the many Beacon leaders that are here today, not only speaking, but listening in and support and demonstrating their support for this effort that way as well. And I just wanted to actually complete the thought that Lee Blondes, our CEO, was starting when her 3 minutes ran up. So she was starting to talk about the need for adequate funding when it comes to rent subsidy. As an organization that creates homes at this income level, you will face a challenge to achieve your vision of creating deeply affordable housing in all communities. You have a wonderful partner in the St. Paul PHA that provides rent subsidy to nonprofit developers like Beacon. We are right now choosing where to create more family supportive housing, and we'd like to consider places like Woodbury, Roseville, and Falcon Heights. But the Met Council, which controls the rent subsidy for suburban communities, has not been willing to make a commitment to partnering on these types of development. So recognizing that is outside of your immediate jurisdiction, we encourage you to join us in our advocacy to build a shared vision between Ramsey County and the Met Council to develop the resources for deeply affordable homes in all communities. We think it's incumbent upon all public officials who believe in this need to work together holistically to make these units come to fruition. So thank you for bringing new resources to creating desperately needed homes in Ramsey County, and we look forward to partnering with you. Thank you.
And Elizabeth, could you tell us what city you're from?
I'm from Minneapolis.
Okay, thank you. And we do have, I think, someone else that is being elevated as a panelist.
Yes, Dana Kennedy.
And Dana, if you could state your full name and what city you live in, and you have 3 minutes, and we're here to listen.
Thank you very much. My name is Dana Kennedy. I live in St. Paul in Honorable Carter's district. And thank you all for hosting this today. I was not planning on speaking, and so I am very nervous, so please bear with me. When my father died when I was young, my mother sold everything and moved the 4 kids and her into a 2-bedroom apartment. We slept on mattresses on the floor, and I moved boy, this is stirring up a lot of feelings. I moved every year from 3rd grade through 10th grade. And then in 10th grade, something magical happened. A brand new building was built on funds very similar to what Beacon does every year. And my 2 younger sisters got to finish elementary school, middle school, and high school at the same home, at the same address. And so I was prompted today by what Ms. Lamp shared about children being able to finish the school year at the same address. And then when I went on to work at St. Paul Public Schools, I was astonished by how difficult it was to mail home report cards because people moved at the end of the month and didn't leave forwarding addresses as they tried to stay under the radar, living the childhood that I lived. And so I deeply underscore everything that was said here. The reason we moved so much when I was young is because my mother had to pay more than 50% of her meager wages to rent. And so we never went to the dentist. I went to the dentist in 11th grade for the first time. And so I deeply, personally have a stake in this. And I really hope with the generosity of this bold thinking that you all are undertaking here, that you'll take it up a notch to protect families like mine, to protect the 6% of children in St. Paul Public Schools who are currently homeless, and then the others who are living a mobile life like I lived. Thank you so much for listening today, and thank you for giving me this impromptu opportunity.
Thank you. I believe we have another person that is ready to be a panelist.
I don't see another one just yet.
Oh, okay.
They're mostly just comments in the chat in which we're capturing.
Okay. It all becomes part of the formal record. Okay, I will, according to the rules, I have to announce
I think
3 times. So you're going to hear this 3 times unless we have somebody that's willing.
Sorry for interrupting,
Oh.
Madam Chair. I think that Reverend Sarah Browser from St. Paul's UCC, does she want to speak?
And I thought there was another name, Mary.
Mary Root,
Okay.
yes.
Yes, and she's saying yes.
Okay. So we're going to promote Reverend Sarah Bowser. And then Mary Root will be next.
Welcome. Please state your name and what city you live in, and you have 3 minutes, and we're here to listen.
Hi, everybody. My name is, I'm the Reverend Sarah Brower, and I live in Minneapolis, but I am the pastor of St. Paul's UCC in St. Paul, Minnesota. And this is a congregation right on Summit Avenue, and we have 176 households in our congregation. 76 of those live in St. Paul. The rest live in the surrounding suburbs, but those folks come into the city for worship and ministry and programming each and every week because they deeply care about what happens in our city. And they would want me to say today that we as a congregation, we speak in favor of this levy and are passionate about affordable housing for all. Even the folks who live outside of the St. Paul city limits, they come into the city because they want their resources invested here and they care about folks who need affordable housing. And so I'll briefly speak to it today and to make sure you all know where your folks in the city and beyond stand. And they would love to be able to support with their financial resources something that provides a more stable environment for so many of our families and children and seniors and all of the folks for whom, and immigrants and refugees and all of the folks for whom this is so important. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mary is next, I believe.
Yes. And Mary just has to accept. And Mary, if you can unmute, you can begin.
Hi, I'm again somebody who wasn't planning to speak, but I want to share that I'm here to support the increase in the HRA levy. We are a Judeo-Christian Muslim county. All 3 religions teach the need to support and care for the poor. The budget is a moral document which should reflect these Judeo-Christian Muslim stances. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the queue to speak?
No, it doesn't appear so. I think you can read your statements.
Okay. Well, and if at any point during that they say yes, then we'll have them on. Is anyone here to speak regarding the proposed 2022-2023 Ramsey County budget? For the second time, is anyone here to speak regarding the proposed 2022-2023 Ramsey County budget? And one more time, is anyone here to speak regarding the proposed 2022-2023 Ramsey County budget? I'm pausing so that we've got time because of technology.
Yes. There have been no additional hands.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to strike the gavel again and declare the public hearing is now closed. Thank you to all who attended. Have a good evening.
Yes, I'm going to send them to you right now to make sure we have them. You didn't want to what? Oh, yeah, let me just send them to you quick.